Welcome back to Views with Hughes, your agenda-free news. I'm Jerome Hughes, and I'm here today to discuss more about Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power series. It's apparently back in a bit of a controversy right now, but it's no surprise though. All right, so before I begin, go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and click the bell notification so that way you'll be alerted of future uploads and updates. All right, so let's go ahead and get right into it. So according to Bounding into Comics, the Lord of the Rings of Power actress Nazanin Boniadi, I'm not sure if I pronounced her name right, but I'm just gonna call her NB, says her character is an activist and credits Prime Video writers for giving female characters an agency. All right, so this is basically the same thing what she said at Comic-Con a couple of weekends ago. All right, so she stated that, not only that, but stating that her character is a bit of an activist, but at the same time, the character itself isn't even a Tolkien OG character. You know, it's just made up by the current showrunners of the Rings of Power show. And it says here that it gives her recently described her character as an activist, also crediting Prime Video writers of the show for giving female characters an agency, including the Black Dwarf, as y'all saw it, as well as the female hobbits too. Okay, so she appeared at Comic-Con at the end of July, which last month. She talked to the media and specifically praised the writers for what they've done in giving female characters a voice. And she was quoted saying, "What I love about the writers on this show is that they have given every woman on the show, every female character, such agency." And she also was quoted saying, "We don't serve men around us. We have a storyline and our own right." Now, first and foremost, who's to say that they serve men? That's just a private and personal interpretation based on the societal norms that were happening back then as well as today. Okay, so no one stated that women don't serve men, and it's not the same thing either. All right. Well, not the same thing for men. All right. But if it's anything, it's interdependency between the two. Okay. Now, the actress also stated at Comic-Con for her character, she's a healer, but she taps into her inner lioness as an activist. As a longtime human rights activist from my homeland, Iran, I tapped into what I believe women are doing for my homeland. And playing with character in sort of liberating and redeeming the Southlanders who back, their ancestors' days chose evil over good, she added. Now, I told y'all we all knew that this was going to happen, that they were going to go ahead and add the political culture of today and modern times into the shows, into the things which we consider as our escapism. And I guarantee you that's what they've been playing from the giddy up for years now. Okay. And it's like whoever the head of Prime Video is, I guarantee you she went on ahead and approved this because of the statement that they put out there stating that they're going to promote more diversity and inclusiveness for the audience based using the platform and the show and characters of the shows and stuff. So in other words, this is not Tolkien at all, because this is nothing more than an allegory, as I've reported in the past video when I talked about Rings of Power as well. It was also a tweet that she sent out from her appearance at Comic-Con where she said, "My portrayal of Bronwyn, Lord of the Rings on Prime is inspired by Rings of Power on Prime. It's inspired by the brave women of my homeland in Iran who basically said what was quoted earlier." So she's using this as a platform to state what the women in her homeland of Iran are standing for. But we had a YouTuber whose channel who I'm a big fan of, who goes by the name of Disparu, reacted to those comments in the video that's stated here. All right. And it's like, specifically to her claim about her character having agency in a recent video where he said, because that never happened before in any TV series ever for decades. Okay. And he's really good with his analysis and everything. The difference is that previously it was done for good storytelling, whereas now it's done so that we can brag about it and talk about how amazing it is. In other words, giving yourselves a platform, putting yourselves on a pedestal where you're actually putting yourself out there politically instead of being an entertainer. All right. And that's only ever done for one reason by a group of people, the people who want to give a boost to their ego. Yes. And their self-esteem, because they know they don't have any talent. He added, ooh, shots have been fired. Yeah. I remember him saying in that video as well. And he also detailed, we're just going to use this as a shield against the criticism we know we're going to get, because we know what we've done to the work. All right, so they just go ahead and trying to use this series to introduce it to those who never read a Tolkien book, who aren't really familiar with Lord of the Rings. Then, in other words, trying to reach out to the newer audience instead of the OG fans. Okay, and Boniadi provided more details about her character at the at Comic-Con, and even described the character as an activist. But the thing is, if we want to see activism and everything, we don't go to the very things in which we were raised on, or the things we grew up on, or the things that we've already been fans, because of the fact that the things that we love and enjoy, the escapes and stuff, the myths, they're the reasons why we're not concerned about the political matters of this day. But the problem is Hollywood elites and politicians are trying to add these things into these shows. And guess what? These shows and movies end up failing. All right. She also detailed, I think that what I can tell you is that she's a healer. Basically, it's the same thing they'll say earlier in the article. Her ancestors chose evil over good, and they're being forced to redeem themselves and prove themselves that they can be trusted. So I think it seems as if she's trying to go ahead and put this in the spotlight of Numenor. But the thing is her character a Numenorian? Is it just a man in the south of Middle Earth? I mean, I can't really tell, but at the same time, I really don't care, because I'm not going to watch the show. And her journey, that journey for her comes through finding her inner lioness and strength and resilience. She's also a single mother of a rebellious teenage son in a forbidden romance with an elf. So lots going on for this character, she added. I'm guessing her son is the kid who picks up the broken dark sword. Okay. Theo, I think. All right. And she also further explained, well, she's got that sort of, she's in that trio, isn't she? Her son, played by Tyro, and Ishmael Cordova plays the love interest. We're in this forbidden romance together. So that's the trio in my world that my world is really in. So in other words, it's kind of, she's putting it out there as if it's similar to a Muslim being with a non-Muslim. Okay. Or an Iranian being with a non-Iranian. All right. And then she's basically calling the character of fantasy version of herself as an activist. And she's also an activist. Now, see what happens whenever you get entertainers who are also considering themselves being activists and everything. That's when the show itself goes into failure. Why? Because they're bringing that which we are not interested into a show. And on top of that, the show itself isn't even of Tolkien origin. It's just based on the appendices from one of the Lord of the Rings books. All right. So she's just basically repeating the same message over and over and over and over and over again. So that way she can not only have herself out there, but also so that way she can consider herself as being valid, you know, putting herself, boosting her ego, her self-centeredness. So that way we can go ahead and be forced to love her. And that's what's just going to be tuning us away from the whole thing. And also, it's I guarantee you all that this show is, we all know this show is going to flop. If not, then this just, you know, most likely they're going to have a backup plan. And if they don't do anything about this to improve it, then this is just going to be the same thing that's going to happen to this show as the others. It's just going to be low ratings, and most likely might be canceled because they arrogantly believe that since they went on ahead and since it's like Lord of the Rings, they automatically going to get on 5 seasons. This is not even Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. And his stuff is far from the Tolkien books. Even though the cinematography is well, and he did bring the characters to the point that they're supposed to be based on the books, this is far from it. Okay? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you think you're going to enjoy the show, let me know. Also, if you're not, and if you just detest this show as much as I do, or might have any other insight to the show that I might not have picked up on from based on this article, please let me know in the comments below. And also, if I might have went wrong anywhere, please let me know in the comments below as well. And also, if you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and also share this video everywhere on social media. And until then, people, peace.